Yeah, tender, love and care, everyone. Welcome to today's show. I have some news for you. Had to clean up a little bit. We may get some business contracts coming our way. And when more business contracts, more opportunity for business and education. Yeah, tender, love and care, everyone. Welcome to today's show. I have some news for you. Had to clean up a little bit. We may get some business contracts coming our way. And when more business contracts, all right, welcome. I think that we are fully on now. No background reverb. So that just means more opportunity for work. So what I did here, I'm gonna present to you all. I'm gonna stop screen sharing. Is part of our last streams. I had the beard just growing, and I figured I'm just gonna let the beard grow. It's winter, it's cold, but we do have to remain professional. So as some of you know, I've modeled, I've been a photographer, media specialist all throughout the years, and decided to just clean up a bit. So I do have some videos on self-care, on Gotten to Love and Care, different barber styles, stylist styles. As some of the videos you'll see me with different styles here. And this one I just decided to clean up. So not as a bear anymore with the beard. I figured it's gonna be a tamed bear. It's gonna be one that will get me through winter. I've said this before on some of our self-care videos that for men, our hair is like a woman's makeup. And just lined it up a bit, applied some Radha and some secret sauce that I have, Miracle skincare. And yeah, it looks like everything's all lined up and looking snazzy as before. And I've always had this, people have asked me, hey, hairstyles. I've always avoided covering the Adam's apple, just personal preference. I've never wanted to cover the Adam's apple. Before I had the Adam's apple covered here and decided just to line it up, took my time. And yep, every video that I have, a different style. Just going with one of the basics here, one of the foundations for really self-care for men. Women, if you are joining, let me know what you use to moisturize your skin, what you apply. How did you come up with that? I have a secret recipe. I may put it out one day for purchase, something that I use for healthy, glowing skin. And I like to experiment and tinker with different products and come up with my own essential oils, etc. And I came up with a perfect, I mean, it smells great. And applying it to the skin, there's this sheer that comes from it. So with that being said, we are back on Got Tender Loving Care RuneScape, and the speakers are all set. Some of you see my background there, my musical background from one of the songs that we produced in the studio recently. And here we are on the RuneScape channel. Having fun with this quest. This quest is very fun. Like making my avatar work here, building on those archaeology points. Archaeology being one of my backgrounds as well. So I'm finding a lot of trinkets and a lot of artifacts. And the goal is to follow this orb. There's an orb that lets you know where the good stuff is. So I've experimented with different hairstyles. I figure since I opened it up, I may make its own video. But since we are here live play RuneScape, since we are here with a fresh, new, clean look, what styles do you prefer, men and women out in the world? Do you prefer beard? Do you just prefer mustache, clean shaven? What is your preference? And this is the tree of life here. It's very cold, and if my ears are cold, I've noticed my body tends to get even colder, like a 5-10% increase. So I like to keep my ears tucked in here. Going with the green today, very auspicious color, the golden green. Yesterday, with a Green Bay Packers hat, and we had someone on here repping the Green Bay Packers. What kind of sports are your favorites as well? I know I mentioned football before Green Bay Packers, but I am not a football fanatic. I once rented out in an apartment complex, and I was part of a few that got a bunch of tickets. Ended up giving those tickets away to family and friends to attend the football games at a stadium, a major big stadium. I just that's not for me. Me, I am as some of you know in some of my channel videos, I'm a martial artist. My father was a world-class boxer. So I have extensive martial arts experience and some videos out there training competitions, ranking belts, ranking. I'm not sure if I published that, ranking my belts and trophies, etc. So big martial arts supporter, martial artist, and trained all over the world in martial arts. So that is my sport. And that if I ever won tickets to any martial arts venue, I would probably attend. And I've been to many of those. I got to see what it's like inside of a ring, outside of a ring, the squared circle, the octagon, etc. Different settings. That is my sport. Been to baseball games. My mom actually worked at a baseball um, ballpark stadium, and I got to visit there. I've also, with a contract that I had on site, I was able to work the baseball games, just selling tickets and all that. Back in the day, baseball's good. Been to basketball. I worked actually at the. I have actually worked. I just memory coming back to me. Yeah, so I've worked at the stadiums as well in the media production side of it. Just didn't feel like it because we're surrounded by technology. But the game's going on, and that was what we were broadcasting. So yeah, definitely have experience in basketball, soccer, all sports, volleyball, my favorite. When it came to all of those sports. All right, I'm really enjoying this archaeology excavation. This satiates me in a way. I'm looking at my anthropology, one of my degrees over there, and oh, it's just very nostalgic. My inventory is almost full. I want to get this task here in front of me, complete work task. I can focus in on like what's going on right there, and some paperwork here, contracts. And I just saw the message up here on the screen. Our message is full right there. Or our inventory is full. I found something. I really have to crank this out of the way. Glad we have a 5-minute marker there that I don't have to rush the process and sign in right away. All right, so what's going on? You find a ruined letter. Okay, so now my inventory is full. Like, what happens now? Do I just stuff it into the box here? Use. Nope, can't store anything here. I can only store soil. So what do we do? Let me ask these people. What do we do with artifacts that we find? I'm not sure. No one's answering. Someone else is confused. Like, how do we get the outfit? I had to put it in the bank. I'm really not sure what to do with this. Use ancient values. All right. Is there someone over here? Excavate mysterious. I know that someone else was looking for this person up here. Eep. Looking for some goodies. I'll contribute as much as I can. Eep. I just received a bunch of spooky coins. And that gave me more space here in my inventory. Spooky coins. What can I do with spooky coins? And how many spooky coins do we have? Not sure where that inventory is for spooky coins. And the orbs looks like they're like right over here. Just people are running off that way. So if I have 15K, what is this? Inspect polished horn. Really not sure what to do, so it's really just figuring out what is this orb just randomly. Oh, the orb's right over there. That looked like an orb, but the official orb is right over here. Activate mysterious runes here. Yeah, so as some of these contracts come through, as I start to build more of my entrepreneur business, and some of you know God Tender Loving Care is part of that. If you want to ever join our podcast, let me know. And I mean, you're just gonna see me more self-cared for. I felt like a truck driver before, with a big beard and putting on any of my clean clothes. But back in the day, maybe not so long ago, before adulting took more of a place of what would we call self-care. Um, I modeled, I ran my own production business and multimedia. I've lectured all around the world and worked with different various or universities. Been a student, a professor, a teacher at many different sites, and train martial arts more on a consistent basis. I still supplement with Iyengar yoga, which I'm certified in, and I train my martial arts. I do pad work. Uh, but there was another level of self-care that I have to tap into again. And that was a time when I was a lot more into doing a lot more photography, and I'm getting myself back into photography. I have a group of students, my own children as well, who are interested. So I'm dusting off the camera. We're gonna go on adventures, go on hikes, go canoeing, etc. Just different ventures, and it's very active. Like I've traveled the entire world, U.S., South America, Central America, Asia, and photography has allowed me to do that. Multimedia film production as well, and now being more cross-categorical, just being more well-rounded as a consultant for businesses and districts and universities. Now having multiple masters and graduate degrees, I can focus more in on presentability. Like this is something that Neil deGrasse Tyson said. They asked Neil deGrasse, the scientist, oh, what happened? You know, you're still the same person, except now you're more famous. What was the change? And he said, oh, well, now I shower more. And I've always been big on the self-care. I've never taken a day without showering. But really like taking little things, appreciating the little things like lotioning up your body, moisturizing your feet. Um, I'm not big into going out to get a pedicure, but I've noticed that there are these socks. You put these warm socks on, and it's like a pedicure, without having someone else work on your feet. So I'm big into that as well. Um, Big into skincare because I've trained, right? My skin's been bruised. I've broken bones. I had a fractured or broken rib training once. I did a hip toss on my coach, mastered the hip toss in judo. And one time, we were sparring a little too aggressively. There was a line of bigger, martial artist giants who I was training with. And, it got intense and I landed it and I kept on fighting through the pain. But, dings and dangs over the years, that now is a stage in chapter 4, self-care, revitalization. I'm still going to train hard, but when you play hard, you also have to self-care just as much as you train. Prioritizing sleep as well. There was a little stint when I was getting my siestas in and considered moving to Spain, a country that is on my to-do list to visit, because there the law is to take your regular siestas. Haven't really taken siestas recently, been more focused on the contracts and the work that I have. And little things like this educational game, blowing off steam in that. I'm working on something mentally grueling right here. This is gonna just take a little bit of stress off, just having that in the background. And before I used to play a lot more classical music as well. This music actually has a bunch of classical music embedded into it that I really appreciate. And it's going to be really hard to take me away from this one when I have to test another app, test another game, test another hardware, other systems. But I really do appreciate that it saves all of my work here, because this one I find that I find some pleasure in this. I'm learning. I've met so many people from all around the world, as you all know, and participated, who've joined and subscribed to the channel, who've chatted with me, let me know where they're from, learned about their different cultures, learned about their different languages, etc. Been a chapter of self-care and analyzing a lot of these contracts. We are to keep moving forward. That is what professional development is. Now imagine being one of the RuneScape producers, someone who works with RuneScape and any ability. That must be great. You must learn a lot about technology, programming, coding, an ever-growing field, data science, machine learning. I mean, there's so much power in that. Like, I'm looking at a webinar right now from MIT, IDSS, in data science and machine learning. This one right here. So it's a webinar, cutting edge program with numerous benefits. So just one of the programs that I'm looking into for 8 CEUs, which is a form of credit for students and learners. Very fascinating. Skilling. So this is called skilling. And even if I went to anthropology, archaeology school, never even heard of that word, skilling. Is it a real word? Wow, yeah. Well, a skilling has multiple meanings, including a former Scandinavian coin, a business process, a British dialect term, a mobile trading platform, a career coaching program. Wow, fascinating. Drank some tea earlier as well. I have my tea kettle right over there. Oh, and what happened yesterday was so strange. So during my last session yesterday, when I was wearing that Green Bay Packers hat or cap, if you go back to that video, here before I lose my train of thought, we have something from Wobbly. Yo, God, tender love and care. I'm in your Twitch chat, homie. All right, shout out to Wobbly. Wobbly, what part of the world are you from? I'm gonna check out to Twitch right now. Thank you for reminding me. Let's check out Twitch. So as I was saying before, as I check out the Twitch chat, yesterday was so strange. If you look back at that video, which is pre-recorded on YouTube, we're live on YouTube and Twitch. Twitch doesn't save the videos for long. It doesn't archive them like YouTube. YouTube benefits of streaming on YouTube is that it saves your video, saves your work. And is that my internet went out. So while I was talking to some of you here on RuneScape, Twitch, and YouTube, um, my power went out, and I thought, well, let me get back in. And all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, well, it's midnight. I should probably get some sleep, some rest, some Z's, or make sure my dogs. As you all know, I run a rescue farm initiative with rescue cats, dogs, birds, etc. Anything we can afford. The more money we make, the more I'm going to keep rescuing these animals. And we have a boatload of animals here, and I let the dogs out. And then all of a sudden, all my dogs run around. They run around and they're barking at the top of their lungs at 12:30 midnight. And I'm like, what are they barking at? So I go inspect, look around the house, look out the windows, see what's going on. And I notice that there's someone at about 12:30, 1 a.m. on a light pole. There's a light pole by the house, right? And they're up there. And I'm like, what the heck is that? That's what my dog is barking at. I let three of my dogs in. My big dog, my dog that does not play, if you're a stranger, is still out there, refuses to come back home. And I noticed someone, they noticed me like looking at them from the window. I record the video and I have it up on YouTube. I put it as unlisted. I might make it public. And the title's like WTF, because then they start to like skimmy down or shimmy down the pole. And I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? From that vantage point, they could look directly inside the house. And they were in the getup. So I'm thinking, this person is outfitted like they work for the city. They're fixing the light pole at 1 a.m. I didn't get a notice. So I'm thinking it could also be anyone dressed up as a worker. And I don't know. You never know, taking pictures, trying to find their way in. I have no idea. So I go up to my wife and I let them know, hey, this strange thing's going on. The dogs refuses to come back inside the house. And someone's up on the light pole right now at 12:30, 1 a.m. And then she's like, oh my gosh, like bring the dog in. And I'm very vigilant. I've got my armor, if you will. And I let the dog back in. And then she checks her messages just randomly. She and ends up finding out that she did get a message from our internet provider stating that they're going to be out there until 2:30 a.m. Working on something. I had no idea. She had no idea until she checked her messages. They sent it that very day. And I was like, whew, what was that about? So that's what caused the video yesterday to randomly stop. I didn't mind it. As you all know, I'm a professor. I have a multimedia background, and I work with different cinema techniques and editing techniques. And if you haven't checked out Casey Neistat, he does something that is cinematography genius galore. It is amazing. What Casey Neistat does in most of his videos is he vlogs, he creates these documentaries that are movies. And instead of getting like this slow pan out, this slow transition out, he just ends his vlogs and documentaries like that. And it's not because he's negligent or a bad editor, or he's being lazy. It's because of the effect that it does. So I thought to myself, I could log in and do part 2, but I'm just gonna leave it as is. It works for Casey Neistat, where he signs out like this, and then you don't hear anything. You think like it's an incomplete movie because the movie just ends like that. But it's his cinematic technique. It gets people to like, oh my gosh, I want to watch more. That feels like the feeling is of unfinished. And when you have the feeling of, well, there should be something more, you have your viewers who want to see more. They're going to click on more of your shows, your programs, your videos, versus the traditional Hollywood technique of having an ending. Right, you have the different parts of the movie, and then you have an ending, and when the ending is coming, it transitions out, it pans out, happy ever after. Casey Neistat's documentary, and he's a legit filmmaker. It's just action, something's happening, there's a story, there's a plot, something, bam, over. No, nothing else. All right, so I'm gonna check out my Twitch right here before I lost that train of thought. So let's check out what's going on Twitch and YouTube. All right, so shout outs from the Zephyro Show. No, I am on an interactive, except that I get so into the quests and what I'm doing on here that I don't check my chats as much as I should. But question. So you mentioned I'm still learning about Twitch. YouTube, I've got a little bit figured out. And since I'm streaming on both platforms, it's difficult to have multiple chats on the screen while playing the game in full screen. So I use a different screen to talk to you all. So that's what's going on. But I can get better on that. You know, as you all know, I do some research, do some work, go to chat, a lot of multitasking. But thank you, the Zephyr Show. That is a very great question. I did wonder if there is a way to stream my Twitch and have the chat just show up on this screen right here, my main gameplay screen. Have not figured that out yet. Twitch is completely new to me. I've been on Twitch now, learning how to program this program for maybe a week now. And completely new. So I'm learning the trade of Twitch. Otherwise, I'll keep learning more about this. I do have top quality hardware, but learning the software is definitely new to me. But yeah, thank you so much. So it looks like the Zephyro Show is that person who I gave a shout out to here earlier. So let's Zephyro Show. So many people are so interactive on here that I'm not gonna find what I said to. But okay. I think it's Wobbly. Wobbly might be the Zephyro Show. So if you have a show, I'm gonna check your work out. Yeah, I can definitely become more interactive on these platforms. I've noticed that there is activity both on YouTube and Twitch pretty much equally. So I mean, I'm pressing on the Zephyro Show. I'm gonna have to type your name into the chat. Just try to click your name, but it's asking me if I want to block you, and I'm like, why would I do that? It's a Zephyro Show. Or maybe add you as a friend or something. Oh, here you are. All right, so the Zephyro Show. Yo, first of all, thanks for coming by. Secondly, hi, I'm Seth. Did I say your name correctly? You have a cool name, by the way. Sounds like my safe baseball. You're safe. All right. I'm totally off the wall, and I live. Eve. I can't read their about me section. It says Eve, and I'm live. Oh, and I'm live Eve. What does that mean? Oh, you have a YouTube and a TikTok. All right, look at that. What videos you have on here? Oh, you're on RuneScape too? No, it looks like a Zephyro is the Zephyro Show. Highlight 5 streak. Raid. Have not heard or any of those. Let me know what's so beneficial, what's so fun about those. If you have to plug any of those games in. Raid looks good. I see that you might be on a boat on Raid or something like that. All videos, and it doesn't look like you're on RuneScape, man. Looks like you're on Raid. All right, very cool channel. I like that. Cool. Let's check out your YouTube. Zephyro Show. Shout out. All right, so you have exactly 101 videos as of this video. And what's your content about? Zephyro Show. Shorts. All right, gaming. Right. Oh, it looks like you do this effect where you see you and then you see your keyboard. That's interesting. How do you do that? Let me check out one of your videos. And your keyboard just floating on the screen. So, Zephyro Show. I do have one of these. It looks like you might not be using that. Maybe you'll benefit from one of these. This is called an IPEVO mirror cam, and I just attach it to my computer right here, and you can see pretty much what I'm typing. So let's It's easy to connect. I just don't happen to use it a lot. Here, if I adjust it accordingly, like this, you can see everything that I'm typing. Just to oh, let me there we go. There's a smudge right there. I gotta get to type. Yeah, I tend to not use that as much. And let's take a look at. All right, so it looks like you have a pretty good system here, and I like those airplane games. Sketchy Landing. What game is that? Flying an airplane. And what game is this? Leo Wells, the dog. I like those racing games, the ones that provide you free play. It looks like you test out a bunch of games too. Right on. Check out the YouTube chat, which is taking me away from gameplay, but it is as equally important, as you all know. Excavate. Perfect. Hey everyone on YouTube chat. How are you all doing? All right. I'm gonna give you a shout out on here because I think you're wobbly. And why don't you stream RuneScape? Stream all those other games. Shout out to the Bro Show. I hope that you get millions and millions of followers and get to explore different games, man. Seems like that's the fun thing to do right now. Some people read a bunch of books, and some people like to teleport themselves into books, and that's what we're doing here. I mean, I read it every single prompt. And this is not a term that we use here in the States, right? Is that it's like a spirit, right? Like I have that word, I know what it means. I've read it in books. Those books are usually like from other countries, like Europe and all that, and Canada. Sprite is like a spirit, or maybe you all can educate me on that more. That one that we use here often. We use spirit and ghost and things like that, but maybe it's just a dialect or regional. One click at a time. Ray J. I'm gonna start ranking names. That's what even if I can't go on for the longer sessions, which this week I've been fortunate enough to do, just with the nature of my work. If I can ever just go on and start ranking names and then sign out, I'll be good. As long as I'm providing you all the content, you're seeing my face, hearing my voice, I'm sharing with you what's going on around the world. And the important lesson, if you were here earlier from that situation, as someone who has a martial arts background and trained all over the world, is don't ever put yourself at risk. For example, this is the steps that I took. My dogs ran outside. One of them is barking. The dog's fine. The dog can fend for itself. I know the dog wasn't getting attacked by any bucks or deers. If it was that sort of situation, what works really well is having a taser handy. Now you want to have the taser handy somewhere in the room, away from kids. My kitchen happens to be by the front door. We keep it up high because tasers don't really work on humans. Like, don't ever let someone just randomly tase you. And if you're a police officer, if you're a cadet, if you're not military, that's just part of your job. You might have to let someone do that. If you're a civilian, why? So we have a taser in case our dogs who have an electric collar run around the house. The sound of the taser, even just the sound, is enough to get a dog or a deer or animal spooked enough to run off. The sound will spook them. I've tested this. Now, you probably wouldn't walk up to a dog or something attacking your animal or a deer and try to tase it because now you're working with distance. What that really works is if you can make the sound, or if something's lunging at you. I mean, you might be able to, give it a quick tase, and it might get your hand and bite your hand. But if you can, aim, it's risky. Tasers don't usually work on humans. It has a 50% rate, and I don't want you all here who are part of the God Tender Loving Care Network to ever get hurt. So I take my expertise as one of my coaches from Ukraine once mentioned, hey, I opened up this gym because I want my friends to feel safe. I want my friends to always be protected. So that's why I opened up my martial arts gym. And I took that to heart. And anytime I trained others, I would always share that perspective because here in the God Tender Loving Care Network and community, I want you all to be safe. So what was going on in my mind when I thought that, hey, this person climbing that light pole at 1 a.m., we don't know what's going on. It could be anything. Make sure that you are fortified, safe. You have your phone with you. I had my camera recording. My one call called police. Remember, police officers and first responders. So, and I was fortunate enough growing up that I had myself an air gun, and anytime there was something going on, I always felt that would provide a little bit of distance. But something out there called the Berna also exists, and that is the less lethal self-defense tool that exists aside from firearms and bows and arrows and crossbows, where I didn't throw myself into the situation of, oh, let me go walk up to this person on the light pole and see what's going on. Now you've left the fort. Now you've left the safe zone, if you will, the area that's going to provide you a chance to call the first responders, the police officers, if you need to. That is your armor, your home, your car. You never leave your car to chase, right? You never chase. Even if you think they're breaking into your car, even if you think they're breaking into your garage or trying to break into your house, don't leave your safe area fortified as much as you can. The Berna is a great alternative in that it is a launcher and not a firearm. It's legal in all 50 states. And what it is pretty much like a very powerful, it's not a firearm, but it's an, how can I describe it? It's not a firearm. It's an air arm. It's an air arm. Like literally, you have these air canisters that go into it, and they're preserved until you have to use it. Anytime you have to use it, then you have to replace the air canister. But it's an air arm, not a firearm, that will produce an effect. Like there are the 3 different big pellets. One of them is, it hits you, it's gonna first hurt and provide an impact. And then it's going to create this air, it's going to create this pepper spray ambience. I wouldn't have used that because again, if you're inside the home, you have to consider that who else is going to inhale that? Not the best option at that moment. Better than nothing. But they also have one that is eco-friendly where once it hits, lands, you can't use it again. It dissolves in water. That's the eco one. Then there is the one that you can reuse over and over and over and over that you can also protect yourself with. And if you want to save money and practice your marksmanship, you can always deploy that one, and it'll hurt. I mean, you go on Berna's website and see the bruises that it leaves. Like it's enough to stop someone in their tracks. Never go out and follow trouble. Following you because of Murphy's Law or anything else that's going on. Remember that diffusing the situation is always the best course of action. You can be trained, and there is a video on the Burner website that showed a boxer, and I'm like, yeah, thank you for sharing someone who's trained just like me, someone who knows martial arts, has trained all their life, but also has a consciousness of that's an icky situation, that's a murky situation. I will be able to defend myself but don't search for trouble, right? And you always want to be in that position because the law will always back you up. If you can prove that you took every course and every measure possible to not make the situation worse. And I've trained as a police officer cadet, and I've trained with police officers, and I've trained with military personnel. All my martial artists, teammates, and sparring partners, they were all veterans, Marines, Navy, Army, Air Force, etc. Everyone, and I got to train with everyone while training in a boot camp martial arts, really like holistic amateur martial arts, professional martial arts setting. Some of my training partners went off and joined the UFC, Ultimate Fighting Championship. Some of them are training with Bellator. So I've trained all around the world at the best gyms. Father was a world-class boxing champion. And there's some of the tips that I've learned and tricks and strategies. I've lived in third world countries. And here in the US, where we're fortunate enough to be able to defend ourselves with firearms and the castle law. Not every state has that, so be very careful. We do have access to something called the Berna, crossbows, bow, and arrows. I didn't look for trouble. But you also have to be very vigilant. That is your job, to be vigilant. And no one can tell you, hey, why are you looking at me? Mind your business. If you think that something is going on, then you report it to those who are trained. And if you ever have to, the best you can do is keep training and practicing how to defend yourself. Or if you're ever in a situation that you're just a little too close to trouble, right? So I want to impart that with you all here on the God Tender Love and Care Network, whether that be on Twitch, YouTube, or any other of the streaming services that we are using. We are currently live here playing this RuneScape game and having a lot of fun working here and multitasking as well. I'm very excited for some of the contracts that are coming through. So you will see me multitask. Look. So in that situation, just making sure that you are in your safe zone, because if you're not in your safe zone, then you're in someone else's zone. You are all here and are very supportive. I'm reading the chats, and I appreciate all of your love and support, everyone. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. This channel here, God Tender Love and Care, is just growing. We received a lot of subscribers and likes and chats this entire week. I can't ask for more. I do have products out there if you're interested, ebooks, and I do run my own platform where I sell coins, collectible cards, from baseball cards, basketball cards, Pokemon cards, etc. Collectibles, artifacts. If you want to check that out, check out the God Tender Love and Care store. We have some merch that will be available soon. Hopefully some shirts, headbands, etc. So as a program, as the channel keeps growing, you will see more access to merch, giveaways, opportunities for collaboration, etc. I do cover different topics. I'm not a news anchor, and I'm not a politician, but I am interested in what's going on in the contemporary world, not just because I'm a professor, not just because I have one of my degrees is in anthropology, media technology, computer science, etc. Not because of any of those things, not because I am a community member invested in the betterment of all of us, but because I truly love learning about you all, what's going on in the world, your languages, your cultures, your food, what you value. We're all from different walks of life. And if we can impart some knowledge on each other, that is education. Sometimes what we learn at school may not be education. Sometimes it may lean more towards indoctrination, but I do believe in education. That is the sharing of information, knowledge, techniques, strategies, what works, methods, methodologies, tactics for thriving in this world. I do believe in schools, but I do tend to lean toward the idea that schools tend to do a lot of indoctrination and that schooling does not equal education. Schooling charges you money, education should not. And I'm fascinated with free education all around the world. Countries like Germany and Spain that have access to free education for its citizens and even for expats are amazing. Here in the US, North America, I do feel that there is a burden of charging for school and education. I think that just like those many other countries do, that this would be a better country if those services were provided. All right, so let's head over to EAP. And again, this is not political. This is just for the betterment of all. As someone who's traveled the world and been an ambassador of this country and worked at many different centers, organizations, community centers, etc. EAP here wants me to contribute some more things. And see, I'm not sure where this money is going toward. I've been able to provide everything except a dusty snow globe to EAP thus far. And I think that what this EAP is asking for is for me to go back to the maze and battle the dinosaur again. And I can do that again. It's just very, very trialing. I have a task that I have to go attend to, everyone. But thank you for joining on today. By Tender Love and Care, I will try to be on. Well, not try. I did a video before media studies on the word try. And if you're interested in that, just let me know and I will route that to you. I will do my best to sign back in and complete this. EAP just needs one more from here and maybe a few more from another area. Very fun activity excavating here. I got a lot of work done over there. I see a lot of accomplishments here. So everyone, got tender love and care. Thank you so much for joining. Have a blessed rest of your day.